fine.
Love you, Braylon. Let me start off. I'm Joe. I'm Joe.
All right. Facebook won't come up.
Good morning, Miss Rebecca Lee.
Good morning. Welcome to Issues of Life on this Saturday, July the 23rd. Thank you all for joining this morning. Good morning, Sister Katie, Sister Rebecca Lee, and others that are joining us. We do not own the rights to this music, but you know we love it. We are going to be talking a little bit about the week in review. So much has happened this week, and we want to talk a little bit about that. Then, of course, you saw us say, what does justice look like? What does justice really look like? Because this week has been about a lot of things happening, and the question, what is in question is that, can we really see true justice? This can be an...
And we expect justice.
And we expect justice. I mean, our country was founded upon the principle, of fairness and equality, and even though we know in the beginning it wasn't that way in the minds of others, it was that way, but in the minds of many who were not considered to be citizens, so to speak, it was not. And so now our country's changing. Is it changing in so many different ways? I would love to say that it's changing for the better. Mm-hmm. Because every year, even in your own lives, you want things to get better for you, not worse. And sometimes in some instances, we see that it seems to get better. Things are, I'll admit, it may be a little bit better for me now than it was a long time ago when I was young, growing up. Many of y'all probably saw on Facebook, Reverend put those pictures. My birthday was July the 20th, and we're still celebrating. Thank you, Jeffrey Johnson, my cousin. I got my other shirt on. You can't hardly see it, but it says Chapter 60, established in 1962. So we continue to celebrate today. But anyway, back in the time when we grew up, when we first were born, and grew up and everything, I can't help it. Things were different.
They didn't see that, Chrome, and I was saving it for later.
See, that's what love would do.
Okay.
He probably said, what love
all right. So Stiggins is talking about justice, but I'm playing the role of Job today. Good morning, Sister Minnie Holloway. Good morning, Brother Mac Bell. Listen, y'all better call some folks and tell them to chime in today, because listen, this is serious. Mm-hmm. Because it just gets to me. So I'm Job. Job was written to demonstrate the sovereignty of God and the meaning of true faith. It addresses the question, why do the righteous suffer? Well, the righteous time of suffering. Look, we understand that the hand of God, it's not even at the hand of God. Mm-hmm. The righteous suffer. So there were two basic questions in Job time. If you do good, is not good expected. If you do right, live right, then the outcome ought to be some right living and some prosperous living. Mm-hmm. And the thought was also, if you're a bad person, then bad things are going to happen to you. And it is basically the same mindset of human beings now. Yeah. That if you're good things ought to happen. And rightly so. The people who live better make better choices. Overall, you make good choices, the outcomes are better. But when you make bad choices and inhumane choices, when you do bad things to otherwise good folk, something something ought to happen in the name of justice.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to drop our hat.
Right.
Why is it not that the people who commit crimes,
white collar or blue,
yeah, and most of it is large crime. Wait, you can't even begin to put a number figure on what has been done up in the millions, even billions of dollars. I just heard someone, like we're going to talk. So Job was at that point. Though he slayed me, yet will I trust him. We understand that, Job. We understand. But wait a minute. Job even said, wait a minute, y'all. Stop talking to me about what I've done. I'm good. I have done the right thing. By God, by people, I have done the right thing. I prayed. I have done the right thing by my children. And yet all of this happened to me. Okay, that we know the source of Job's pain. We know that the devil came talking, the enemy came talking to God, and God said, "Have you considered my servant Job?" But what about in society as a whole? I'm talking about right down here on earth, in our communities. It looks like people just get away with some awful things, and let's start with Sesame Street. Let's start right there with Rosita.
That's all he wrote.
Rosita, the character that was in the Rosita suit.
The person.
Okay, everybody by now have seen that video where the character snubs these two little black girls. That hurts me to my heart. That hurts me. Those two little girls waiting to just give us a high five. Give us something. It's painful to watch. I'm a grown man.
Your parents been there. You've been spending money in the park. You've been buying food in the park. They had little souvenirs in
and
their arms.
In Philadelphia, Sesame Street, the Sesame Street workshop. Yep. When we used to look at it, and Morgan Freeman used to be on Sesame Street when we were growing up, and we'd be watching, and they count 1, 2, and we were learning that, and my little niece and my little nephew were down there learning their numbers and learning words and everything and the meaning of words, and then you see something like this in 2022, and it's just time out. And people need to be more conscious of what they're doing. That's what I do.
Me too.
That's what we do.
Very much.
We don't go saying words. I remember when I worked at this company, and we were talking about breast cancer, and they were saying, fight like a superhero for Alzheimer's. We're fighting. What is going to be our thing? Fight like a superhero. Fight like a champ. Fight like a whatever. And somebody came up with the idea, hey, let's go all go dressed up as hillbillies, and I'm going to say what they said. Yeah. And let's fight like a redneck. No, I'm not going. No, I'm not going. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that. Big argument. No. Somebody have a fun. That, this is going to be fun and everything. I'm sensitive. We're not calling folks that. And see, that's what happens all over this world when people are saying, and somebody should have been sensitive to the just kids. It's a kid's part. If I'm grown and I don't have kids, I don't go to that part. So it should have been concentrating on those two little girls, people like those two little girls. Now, of course, everybody's talking about what should be done now. We've got to work in our world toward, let's make sure things like this does not happen, because it just is happening far too often. What does justice look like? What makes this right? Hardly anything makes it. In my mind, there's hardly anything you can do that will make this right. It's just so egregious. So let's say some other things are happening in our in our world as well. We're coming up on elections. There's so much going on with false statements, outright lying. There are people that can turn an election with their mouths. And I'm going to take y'all back to a time when, okay, get the Justice Department, get whoever needs to investigate, do what you need to do. When our Capitol was attacked, somebody should be held accountable.
Yes, yes.
Someone should be held accountable. What does justice look like? You know, I understand. I understand Job and the whole issue with the Satan coming and speaking in the audience of God. I understand all of that. I understand what Job was going through, and it turned the tide. It turned the tide that sometimes some good things, biblically, spiritually, even physically, some good things can happen to some bad folks, and bad things quite often happen to good people. But if we have laws and rules and policies in place that says this is not supposed to happen, or these are the consequences for it not happening. Let me give you one good example. Okay. Here's a good example. What is the man's name who was with Trump? Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon.
Okay. Steve Bannon has been convicted. He's been convicted. He's been tried and convicted. He might not see any jail time.
Well, he's going to appeal it. He's going to see
Well,
jail time.
can I?
30 days.
Can I ignore a subpoena?
No, you can't.
From Congress? Can I?
No, Congress or anybody else.
Can I ignore a subpoena in West Point, Georgia? Can I ignore people coming to me telling me, hey, Reverend Stiggins?
You can't even ignore a traffic ticket. You get a traffic ticket that says you're supposed to appear in court at a certain day. You better get there unless you make arrangement to pay that ticket before time.
So what happens to me if I ignore it? Yeah, I could go to jail. And it's not going to be, well, you have been convicted, you did ignore it. That won't be that type of trial. That you ignored it. That won't be that type of trial. He had a trial on whether or not he ignored or that he did not comply to what Congress asked.
He didn't comply. He didn't turn anything in. He didn't respond.
He didn't do nothing.
He didn't do nothing. He didn't show
and he
up.
still doesn't have to do anything.
But
there's nobody saying, okay, we come to get these papers. You know, where are they? You didn't send them. You ignored it. I can't do that because basically, I guess we don't have the money to pay a lawyer. Is that it? That if you have money, you can get a lawyer to put it off and put it off and put it off. And think about this. If this goes beyond November when we vote, if it goes beyond November when elections happen, and the House and the Senate is no longer on the Democratic rule, but now on the Republican rule, they may just drop it. They could just drop it because the leadership changes hands, and they could drop. Or if it keeps lasting, he's supposed to be sentenced in what? October, November. Okay,
a minimum of 30 days, a maximum of up to 2 years.
Okay, even if he is sentenced, then they may appeal again where it lasts a year and a half. This can go on and on, and then let's say the next Republican president could say, well, we're going to forgive you. We're going to pardon you. That seems so unfair.
It does. That's not.
It is lacking justice.
Being balanced. Yeah, the scales ain't balanced.
And you know that has me upset that people like you and I are just ordinary people. I don't care what color you are. We don't have the wherewithal to do this.
And it
in our system of justice.
Exactly.
In the home of the free and the brave.
Well, let's look at the whole
this bothers
thing.
me.
I mean, all of us, we're not fools. all of us were sitting. I don't know if y'all were, but most of us were sitting in our living room, and we saw what happened on January 6th because we heard the news. They were working it up. It was on social media. It was
That's
on
right.
the news.
McBell said he thinks he's above the law.
Thinks above law. And Merrick Garland said,
and
no
just,
person.
Yeah.
Braylon said, I was up there.
Yeah, Braylon just came and said, I was up there.
That's right.
At the time when it happened.
That's right. But the thing about what I'm saying is that Merrick Garland, our Attorney General, says no person is above the law. And then some reporters say, even the former president, he said, let me repeat, no person above the law. Now, why didn't you just so say, yes, even a former president? I wouldn't have been afraid to say that. They're so scared to say this is what bothers me about justice, because the person who is in charge, Attorney General, is the lawyer for the whole country. He's the lawyer for the whole country, for the people.
No, he's the top cop.
Well, you're the top cop, or whatever you want to say. Still, and the thing about it, he's afraid to say yes, even former president. I would have easily said that. Even former president, yes.
There's something that you have to remember about Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland is a moderate Republican.
Yes.
And I don't think that, well, I'm not even going to say
we're not going to speak that thing.
Let me put it like
justice.
this. Let me put it like this. What law enforcement, and I do put law enforcement, what they do can influence an election. Look at James Comey.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Comey.
Uh-huh.
You remember when he was the FBI director, and we had never seen it. Why would it? We've never even heard. When does the FBI come and make statements on camera?
On camera.
Came
Bam.
At the point where there was an election at hand.
At hand.
Hot and heavy.
Hot and
people
heavy.
on one side of the fence or the other. Here comes Jim Comey,
Yes,
and Jim Comey said, we're investigating Hillary
Clinton.
Clinton.
Sure did.
And then most people be like, well, I'm not voting for her. I'm not voting for a crook.
And some of them want an excuse anyway to say they didn't want to vote for her anyway, because they didn't have no better choice.
You remember Trump shaking Jim Comey's hand in the at the White House, and then they fell out. Then Jim Comey and Trump fell out.
And then Comey went around wanting to sell books and want to act like a Democrat then, and well, they don't want to go Democrat.
The damage had been done.
They go independent. The damage had already been done. Exactly. So words do hurt. When a lot of people say, "Oh, words influence,"
and all of the
January 6th is all because of somebody's words that came out their mouth, and all their little cohorts and little ships, big ships and the little ships. Cohorts spewing out words. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be wide. You better strap up. These are all the words that was going out. Y'all know.
They said strap in.
Strap in, whatever you want to say. But look, has anybody heard the commercial that's in Georgia on 95.3 on other for Stacey Abrams? This young man, he's talking about. I mean, he just downright just cool, just you know, whatever kind of person. He talking about Brian Kemp said, you know what? And he said that the man sat there and pointed the gun to the gun. Now you know that wouldn't work for a black man. Black man couldn't get away with it. He said in the commercial, which is true. I mean, they would have been just horrified.
You don't do that.
So what I'm saying is, what we're saying is, what does justice really look like? Okay, we're talking about in the political sense. We just said about in the sense with the little Sesame Street. What about even educationally? What does justice really look like? You know, I mean, how often do we know that people have fought? Don't get me wrong. I know they're talking about, they got laws out there, but, well, it's, saying parents have a right to say so in the child. Sure, you got a right in your child's education. But teachers are parents too. And grandparents too. And the thing about it is, the key is working together. Because working together works. But then the thing there are also instances, though, and I've seen this as an educator, where I felt like some children didn't get a fair shake. So you have to start speaking up. You have to find a way to speak up, to make people aware of things that are happening. That's part of justice, too. Because there have been some children that sometimes get the short end of the stick. And I've seen that over my past 34 years of teaching. And you have to find a way to also to stay in the medium of your job and being an educator. Because, they make us sign an oath too. We sign an oath to the Constitution.
Y'all do?
Yes, we have to sign an oath and all that kind of thing in your contract. I can't tell you word for word, but we promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States ourselves. Okay? As an educator. So the thing about it is, you know, we do that, but then when you still see something that is not right, you still need to make the powers that be aware of it.
Whoever did, justice is blind. Justice should be blind. That's why they have Lady Justice with the scales that are balanced. And she has a blindfold over her eye. But she been peeking. Lately, she been peeking out and trying to see who it is and say, oh, this different right here. And then persons are treated differently. And that is not good. So what should happen? In the case of justice, what does justice look like when you have persons who steal money from a whole lot of other people? What does justice look like when you disenfranchise people of their vote?
What does justice look like when someone is running away from a car, they don't have a weapon in their hand, but they get 40 bullets shot in their body? Now, I know you probably say, well, they shouldn't have ran. That's the first thing that comes out of the mouth of people. Okay.
And then you catch other people who have guns.
But you got other people who done kill people, got other guns, and you either take them to get a Burger King hamburger, or you put them in the car, you know, you handcuff them, you drive them. I mean, I've seen some of everything. What does justice look like? Over almost 400 police officers in one school building and 21 people still died.
That's not justice.
When in Indiana, a 22-year-old Bain shot a shooter. He had killed 3 people in the mall, but the 22-year-old legally carrying his gun, I ain't got nothing against you legally having a license to carry, end up putting him out in 2 minutes. 2 minutes tops. A 22-year-old stopped the shooter in the mall from being able to kill anybody else.
Wait a minute. What about the there are so many instances where we just don't see justice. So if you have nearly 400 police officers or law enforcement officers, like in Uvalde, why do kids still have to die? And then there is no information to these parents as to what happened, how it happened, and persons who were in charge are still on the job. That's not justice to me. And so it looks bad. It looks terrible. And then there's situations going on even in other countries that does not look good. I wish we would give Ukraine the weaponry so that they could also have some offensive weapons, because Putin is just wrong. Russia is wrong for attacking this country, and they are fighting back. They are fighting back, but they're operating from a defensive standpoint while their country is getting torn apart. And this is the breadbasket of Europe. And you know all the farms. It's just stifled all the farms. It's just making the whole world pay at a loss for what Russia is doing. I wonder what would Russia feel like if Ukraine started an offensive attack and start moving into Russia in some parts of their towns, in some parts of their communities. What would be the outcry then? I know war is bad. Either way you go, war is bad. But it's just sad. It's sad. It's sad. And more than now, Putin has gone to other countries trying to get them to help out because he's getting beat up.
Iran and Turkey, yeah, exactly. And what they also saying that he will wear his soldiers out, and I'm praying that they'll get some sense and say, you know what, he wearing us out, because when you understand the rules of engagement, the Western world, which we're part of, deals with believe in sending supplies, waves of soldiers. You know what I'm saying? You got some working, you take them out, let them rest, you throw it in. But he doesn't work. Putin begin and believe in driving them hard. They stay in there the whole time and don't move, don't leave, whatever. Drive them hard. Now, you know what? That would get to a point where they say, this man don't care nothing about us.
This war was supposed to, according to Russia, this war was supposed to be over in 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. And he'd have the whole country. But he was mistaken because people fought back.
Mm-hmm.
People fought back. They're fighting for their lives, and so are we. There are people who are not so high. Don't make decisions for the whole country. We're fighting for our lives. People are fighting for their lives, and it's worth living.
That's right.
And so you have to fight for those two little girls who were at Sesame Street or Sesame Place in Philadelphia. The reason that mother is fighting is because this is going to have an effect on those girls for the rest of their lives.
And then we hear the news commentators say, "Oh, it probably just a 17-year-old. They didn't know any better." Okay, you high five two people coming up to the little girl.
You then hug people after.
And then you hug somebody after them, next to them. You high five and hug somebody. No.
First of all, if people just find out what's going on, and we take this way too far, there's an investigation going on. Well, look like the investigators could at least get the information that the news outlets have. Mm-hmm. Because they get the information real quick. People send in this piece of information,
exactly.
that piece of information.
Exactly.
Get it. Make a decision. Yep. Something needs to be done.
Well, they're saying they're going to have diversity training. So when you say that, and you thinking at first you made a statement saying it was just one incident of this one thing, then you know you have a problem because they said now Instagram was set up and now bukus, hundreds of pictures and videos have come in with some of these same characters in same places doing what they do. Then they have people, I'm looking at Michael Smerconish, we watch on CNN. Okay, and then people are writing in about it. And somebody said, well, I live near that place and I never have any problem. Well, you're white. Michael Smerconish even said, well, that's easy for you to say because you're white, so you know you haven't had that problem. This is what we're trying to say. Don't get me wrong. I got white sisters and brothers. I love them to death. I treat everybody. I do. Treat everyone equal. If you don't want a high five, then walk in the middle of the street. Don't walk on the edge.
No.
No. I know I'm joking. No, what I'm saying
is Rosita. And that's their job, to entertain the kids, to be loving to the kids. Whatever the character does on television, that's what the children are expecting.
Exactly.
She can't not do her job.
So basically, you have to look up. Here's what we're saying. What does justice look like in our society? Justice is the concept of fairness.
Yeah.
Little children know about that.
Oh yeah, they know about that.
I'm telling you, now sometimes grown folk get it all mixed up and whatever, but little children know about that family. I'm telling you, my first grade, they will hold you to it. If they see you, my 3 grandboys about that.
They know it.
If Nellie's putting some snack on the plate, and if they look like one Gabe got more snack than RJ, Nellie got to do it. Sometimes you get down, you have to count. You
remember when we were eating? Yeah. We were eating at a restaurant. And they brought out, they were cooking the hamburgers for the kids.
Right.
But they brought out all of our food. The grown-ups and the older brother brought out all of our food first. And they were looking around like,
Gabe and Caleb was like,
my food?
Where's our food? And let me tell you another thing about fairness. So it was my birthday, and we're sitting there eating. So in restaurants they sing happy birthday to different people. So the people behind us had a birthday and they were singing happy birthday. And then Caleb looks at me and says,
how old is Caleb?
Caleb is 4 years old. He looks
4-year-old.
He says, Nana, it's your birthday. They're supposed to sing happy birthday to you. I said, don't worry. They'll get around to it. My point I'm making. These young children, that's why it's important for us to get this thing right.
Yeah.
Kids should not be walking around being afraid every time they see a police car and don't know what's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
Because of injustice. They should not. And we need to take our lesson from them. They are sponges. They absorb this stuff. Thank God they're not really sitting down. I had one first grade student who could talk to me on a conversation about everything that was happening in the country and the world. First grade. Some stuff, we talking, I listen. I said, okay, now, we're not going to talk anymore about that. You can talk about, this child watches the news. But the thing about it, his take of it was a take of, anybody else could probably look at it and say, well, I agree. His take would say, that really isn't fair, Miss Stiggers. This little first grader was mine.
Are you smarter than the first grader?
Are you more, what I said, I always would tell his mom and no, hats off to you and hubby for raising a child with a mind of fairness. Yeah. Social justice is fairness as it manifests in society. That includes fairness in health care. You got to talk about justice everywhere. What does it look like? Employment, housing, you name it. Much more. Those are three big ones there. Healthcare, employment, and housing. We know about that in the years past. I know a lot of y'all listen now. We know about the years past. Look, I'm going to say it right now. I live in West Point. I love my city. I love my town, West Point. When you go down 10th Street, that was outside of town. We know that. City Limit Street, MLK now, that's outside.
But
now it's the main thoroughfare. You got to get out 85 and come.
You have to go through 10th Street.
You got to go through 10th Street to go across the Chattanooga to get to Point University.
And all the little shotgun houses.
All the little shotgun. Most of them are gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that we wanted shotgun houses.
But that was I'm talking about housing.
Unfair housing.
Unfair housing. And look, after a while.
And that was time we couldn't live in certain areas of the city.
Exactly, certain areas of the city. Where we live, 6th Street divided us. You know, well, that's not whatever.
There was always a buffer.
There was a buffer. We can get it. We talk about a little bit about Black history, about your mama working in Book Hills and all that stuff. But anyway, the point is, if you created, you would never have to do anything like that if housing was fair from the very beginning. Everybody want a decent place to live. And then and then the mortgages and loans, insurance.
You know what makes
we know how people pay more insurance in certain communities than they do anywhere else.
Making things unfair. Greed.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Greed.
And as my pastor used to say all the time, you cannot satisfy a greedy spirit.
You can't satisfy a greedy spirit.
So they made laws. You remember when there was a little store on every corner in your community just to get things? Now the only store that can get near you is just about a Dollar General?
Dollar General.
And they'll put Dollar Generals out in the rural.
Yeah.
Yeah, where there's no store. So it won't be so hard to get to Walmart, which is the big box store, which ran all the other stores out of business. So that lessens the competition.
That's right. Y'all remember going to your corner stores and getting Mary Jane's and
Name the little corner store in your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood.
We had Miss Bartley.
Mr. George Hughley. He was a barbershop and a little candy store.
Yes.
George Hughley.
Mr. George Hughley, you could get a soda.
9th Street store. What was that? Who was that? What were they called? Sands Pep. What was they called? What was the people called?
I don't know, but it was a
9th Street store.
Black man was kin to Jeffrey.
Jeff Mackey.
No, not Jeff Mackey, but they were kin to. They stayed in back of the store, in a house, on the side of the store. But open 9th Street store.
Miss McLean store on 7th Street.
Miss McLean store on 7th Street.
And they were some good people now. The Bills.
Mr. Billingsley. Miss Carrie Billingsley.
Okay, Carrie Billingsley.
And Mr. Billingsley. Pumpwater, they had a store. Right over by New Mount 7.
Little Larry. Is that what you're talking about? Little Larry Williams?
Well, there was one near them, but it was over there, right? It was on that corner.
The thing about it is these people actually had a store. It was a store building. It was a little bit of, you don't know the little buildings?
Cross 85. The Halls.
That's right.
The Halls had a store. Yeah, my friend, they had a store. We go out to the Ace in the whole store.
That's right.
It was a club on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it was the store
on Monday through Friday. Huh?
That's it.
So we know the fact that how can we?
Jeff said they had the candlelator. Yeah, we had people who would come around.
I need to see it on here so I can read it.
We had people who would come around. What was the store in Roanoke? Brother McBell.
Jeff said we had the candlelator. Never knew her name. Just called the candlelator. I know what you mean.
That's all you need to know.
I know what you mean.
That's all you need to know.
The candlelator. That's right. We all did. And that kept us going. That kept our community. And it was safe. We could walk to the store. It was safe. But look, we're talking about.
There was a store over near Norman. There was a store.
What, Norman?
Right there.
Miss Bartley? Oh, it was another little store?
A store
up in the little alley?
Yes. Yes. I don't know if it was the alley store. I don't know what, but people had, we We had stores almost on every street.
And we were talking about Mr. Harrison's store now on 10th Street.
Oh boy!
Oh,
that
we
man
used
could
to
sell
load
some
that
candy.
place
Because
out
he
on every one of
stayed
our schools.
directly across from 10th Street Elementary School. And
thumbs up if anybody out there that remember that. I don't know if anybody was from
any morning, any given morning, school day morning, there would be at least 35, 45 kids waiting to buy candy. And they could name those candy. I didn't even know the name. I just knew now or later. That's all it is. 5 cents. 5 cents. Gave me 5 cents. Get on out of here. Man, there would be kids who would go and buy his candy and then sell the candy at school.
Entrepreneurs, honey.
And the teachers, Miss Simpson, Miss Lit, Miss
Miss Elmo.
Miss Elmo, yeah. When we went, Miss Elmo used to love those small Coca-Cola. And Mr. Ransom had to get a Coca-Cola box and put it in the school because at recess they would let some I ain't gonna say the baddest children, but those enterprising children. The teacher would get them money. And then we raise up the fence.
Raise up the fence.
Raise up the fence. They slide down there. Go to the store and get the teachers Cocos and crackers and peanuts, whatever. Yeah. Miss Elmo do it all the time. I don't know if she gone now or not. But anyway, they had to stay out there with us while we fought and played. And there was a hole up under that fence where you could go sit by the teacher, Underground Railroad, right across 10th Street. Don't get ran over.
So we're talking about what does justice look like. Okay, Jeff said the DGS store, and we had a store across the street from my church I had to sneak to because some of my Sunday school money was invested in that stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, inside the because there were like at least 2 or 3 stores on Mason Street. So I'm sure kids slipped out. Maybe went to the store.
On Mason Street.
Because sometimes they would have the little stores up on Sunday morning early. I know it. Barry said that lady, Miss Sis in Dixon Alley, had a store in her house. That's right. Okay. Yep. We know that. A lot of people had stores. I'm telling you. And it was, and look, that kept them in business. It kept kids, it kept you safe and out of trouble too, because you can just go right there in your neighborhood and get that. But look,
so greed ran them out of business.
Greed ran them out of business. Exactly. So how do we show justice in our daily life? Because the thing about it is, one thing about God's people, we are people that should that follow the law and stand up
for those who have been done
good
wrong.
Trouble. Thank you, Brother Matt. Baby, we got to get in good trouble.
Yeah.
How can we do? First thing, it's easy to shake your head in dismay and complain about all that's wrong with the world. I know I'm one of them to shake my head. But what can you spread the word? Like I said, spread the word about something that is wrong when you see and just look what happened. We got social media now. The word can spread. Bam! In almost a millisecond. Have you ever, when you post something on Facebook, look and say, "What the thing I just posted, honey?" Because so much stuff is coming out on Facebook before even the stuff that you post gets there. Spread the word. Also, listen more.
Yeah.
Now, I don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get tired of the news. I do. Reverend had to turn it off, and he said, "Mama, we're going to go away from this news for a little while because you start getting stressed out."
Yeah.
But listen more.
Be the society or the person that you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That you think is fair. Be who you talk about. Be the right of who you talk about. I was telling 2 young guys, I asked them if they had any children. Just talking to them on the street, just talking to them. And they would say, "Yeah, I got one. Yeah, I got one." I said, okay. Yeah, I said, "You know what I'm trying to do now? I'm trying to be the best dad and husband, grandpa, papa. I'm trying to be the best one that I can be." Mm-hmm. I said, "I got to be." And I asked the young man, "Are you there for them? Do your kids know that they can depend on you?" I said, "That's what you have to strive for. They need to know that you will do whatever is necessary mm-hmm. in order to provide for them." Mm-hmm. I said, "That's what being dad is all about." Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else can you do? You can attend a rally. If there's a rally going on attend. Be safe about it. A rally going on. You want to find more. You want to show your support. You can attend a rally to listen more. Find out up close. Get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, or whatever. Also, reclaim your community. sometimes people allow outside of people entities to come in and take over. Reclaim your community. We seeing this happen all the time. I have yet, and I'm just
take pride in your community.
Take pride in your community. I have yet to have gone down to some of the restaurants at downtown West Point, and I'll be honest with you, because sometimes I go down there and look and I see it's not many of us down there. Okay, I should go, because when you go and see the crowds, you don't see it. But you need to go in there and be somebody, be different to go in there. Reclaim your community.
One of our problems is, as Mac Bell is saying, one of our problems is when bad people do wrong. But another problem is when good people remain silent.
That's true.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That's right. I also volunteer. I know there are many people that volunteer. You can volunteer in different ways. You can make phone calls. You can volunteer when there are different events that's going on to help support.
Don't volunteer too much now. You need a job too.
Yeah.
I volunteered so much one time. Sister Stig was mad at me when I came home and told her I volunteered again. You need a job, Rebel.
I said use one of them 3 degrees.
That's right. So volunteer on your extra time.
Your extra time, again. Also support local organizations. You can support local organizations that, local, it comes in the mail to you, or you can be a member of them.
Get involved.
Even if you don't have a child in PTO, you can still join the PTO.
Yeah.
To me, if you don't even have children, you can join it, because they need that help and support. Sometimes what you know and your expertise can be helpful to it. Adopt a politician, meaning if there's someone that you know who's running for office, do what you can to help them, support them by doing what? Talking about their platform, what it is they stand for, and doing what's right. Embrace diversity. We know we all can do that. Embrace diversity. Yeah, I know. Embrace diversity. We all have to.
So what is happening in our
But diversity don't always mean you go and take away somebody else's culture.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. Sometimes diversity, say for the name of diversity, you go in and you, all about many of our schools were closed. Okay, whenever the numbers started getting to be too many, a percentage of people of color in the school, then the numbers start closing down. That's what happened. That's not right. That's not diversity to me. And then you say, well, we're going to close it down, open up big and put them together. That's not diversity to me.
And hats off to all of those communities that change with their community. The older communities, sometimes people move up, and many times they move out. So you can't be mad at people who are already up here, already middle class, that want to change. They want to change. Certainly, in many of our neighborhoods, in our community, the people who were striving to pay for those homes and grew up grew families in those homes.
Right.
Listen, the children or the grandchildren don't feel the same way.
Right.
And so many times they'll sell that home, and the family will move elsewhere.
Or let the house go down, or whatever like that.
Well, it doesn't have to be that way, but it's a starter home for someone. The thing is, the dynamics and the diversity of the community can change. And over some years, 50 years, 40 years, the community can change. So that means every other organization in that community needs to be as diverse and change with that community. Because, see, Lynette is growing, West Point, maybe, I don't know. But here's the thing. The diversity of our community, we have more people of Hispanic and Asian culture moving in. So our community is expected to reflect that culture, and rightly so. And we shouldn't be fearful of that. People have aims and goals just like anyone else. Of course, wrong is wrong. Now, I mean, if you have gang and gangbangers moving into the community because the community has been left to itself and there's no investment in the community, then the laws, the policies in place should handle that.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's part of that, taking back to your community too. Because it's been proven that in many urban areas in the city of Atlanta, when people began to take back their community, like it happened downtown College Park, how they've been revitalizing it. And then of course some guy, one of us going down throwing chairs and breaking windows out into folks' business.
That's not good.
That is not good. It's not good for you to go in and check. You know,
Go get him.
Think about doing race riots and stuff.
Go
What
get
good
him.
was it do to go and burn down your own community? I never agree with that. I never agree. I know people were trying to get a point across, you know, even back to George Floyd, but I never agree with
Whether
somebody
it's your own
destroying.
community or whether it's the capital, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's
Either
wrong.
way it go. It is
and
wrong.
charge people accordingly,
Accordingly.
even those who organize it as well.
That's right. Exactly. Need to do something. So people have to give an account. It's just like when we grew up as children. You did wrong, you got punished for it.
So what if our community change? What
I
what
remember
if?
my mom and dad said, this hurt me just as bad as you do. And I said, I don't know how this is going to hurt you when you laying it down on me. Okay, but in the long run, I know what you, in the long run, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for it. Okay.
Let me tell you something. Listen. So it comes down to a point where
Sonya, good morning.
things are going to change.
Yes.
We are going to change.
That's right.
We've become the old people in the community. Because when I was young,
Amen to that.
when I was young, you get in your 60s, you are old. You are very old. And but I feel good.
You look good too.
Oh, thank you. so what are we saying? We're saying that things are going to change.
Yep.
So let's not be so resistant to change that we can't be change agents. Change represents also an opportunity for us to make things better,
That's right.
to make things better for everyone. We have to get involved.
That's right.
We have to embrace different people. Some of us have had a whole lot of practice at it because we didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So embrace different people and treat them like you want to be treated. Treat people like you want to be treated. I tell my congregation all the time, you have no right to be rude. You have no right to treat anyone badly. That ought to be
All right.
that ought to be a goal for everyone. Don't treat anyone badly. Don't do that. Don't purposely try to condemn others and lift yourself up at the same time. So as we do that, we make life better not only for ourselves, but for those around us too.
Yeah.
So what does justice look like? It remains to be seen.
Very nice.
But I would hope that people who do wrong, and because of mass medias, everybody in the world know you did it. Everybody in the world has eyes.
And I guess that's what hurts so much.
Your favorite word, I know I ain't crazy.
I know it ain't crazy.
if I did, could I get away with what you just did? So
Amen.
let's be just. This is the punishment for doing that, and let it be fair, because the babies know when we're not fair.
That's right. They do indeed. Thanks, Sister Debbie. Debbie said we must believe that we are our brothers' keepers and their children village. That's right.
Amen.
Amen to that.
All right, we'll leave with that.
We'll leave it with that. Thank
See
you
some
all.
of y'all tonight.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. We'll see some of you all tonight, 6 p.m. And we thank and praise
Eastern
God.
Standard
Eastern
Time.
Standard Time. We thank and praise God for you all being on this morning, and we pray and hope that something has been said that will help you, and just share it with somebody else as well. We're going to keep praying, because God is the ultimate judge.
God is still good.
He's still good.
His mercy is still everlasting.
Yes.
His truth still endures
Exactly.
toward all generations.
Toward all generations.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Sister Gwen,
Amen.
because we
Yes,
received
Gwen. Yes, I did. Thank you.
wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your support. Amen.
Amen.